Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is Doc Pop once again, and I'm here to talk a little bit about that word tether and what I noticed that's been happening here in America when it's concerning other people. Listen, I know that, forcibly, that America wants to be one big melting pot, so they say. However, people's mentality are different from all parts of the world. They have different cultures, way of doing things. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Yes, this is Doc Pop once again, and I just wanted to make a little short video, man, trying to talk about the difference between people and the hypocrisy and the delusion that a lot of these groups have. And they really believe in this type of delusional stuff. And what I mean by that, if you ask a Mexican, what's the greatest country in the world? They're going to say Mexico. Then when you say, well, why aren't you in Mexico? Why are you here? Well, the opportunity, and then they start stuttering because you're delusional. Mexico isn't the greatest country. Why? Because you don't even want to be there. There's more opportunity here in America, but you're going to say that with your mouth. So that's delusional. You're not being honest. And a lot of these people don't have no honesty in them. That word tether. See, the mindset of an immigrant, is that they're going to try to see where they can get what they can get for themselves. I remember there was a family member that somebody had land. Oh, well, we got land? Come on, that's their land, man. This is the tether mindset. Want to claim something from foundational black Americans that you have no part in, but yet you feel like you want to claim it. That's a tether mindset. Tether mindset. You got in Africa, the Fulani people right now, which are nomads. They're fighting against the people in Ghana, because they're nomads, so they believe that the land, where they graze their cattle at is this open game. But no, they saying no. See, no, these are our borders and you can't do this shit. You understand what I'm saying? So in other words, see, this is the mindset. They got that traveler's mindset, and what's good for the goose is not good for the gander. In other words, we come over here and we want our claim our stuff, we being divisive. But yet they do it over there. Because right now you got that going on in Africa. Where the Fulani people, who are nomads, they are called the cotters. Like, you ain't got nowhere to go. Like they call black Americans the cotters over there. You understand? So this is the tether mindset that want to, see, and the mindset is like a devious one, like a cunning one. You know what I mean? I remember Acorn said his father, every time his mother got pregnant, they would bring he would bring her over to America so their kids can be born in America that had be American citizen, which really wasn't for that, but they learned how to scheme, like scheming demons. But as Trump said,
And some of the cases we're talking about would be ending birthright citizenship, which now comes to the fore. That was meant for the babies of slaves. It wasn't meant for people trying to scam the system and come into the country on a vacation. This was, in fact, it was the same date, the exact same date, the end of the Civil War. It was meant for the babies of slaves, and it's so clean and so obvious. But this lets us go there and finally win that case, because hundreds of thousands of people are pouring into our country under birthright citizenship, and it wasn't meant for that reason.
Citizens here, the civil rights, the amendments. You understand? But see, a tether mindset is going to take that and run with it and try to figure out a way how to get himself in it, which he has no part, a lot in it at all. You understand what I'm saying? So This is the thing, man, and this has happened to me in my own family with people with a tethered mindset want to claim something that's not theirs. That's not theirs. You see, and it's ridiculous, but that's a tethered mindset. A tethered mindset is going to be, what can I get? Whether it belongs to me or not, if I can get in there and manipulate my way in, then I'm going to get it. Which is totally, man, it's absurd, it's despicable, it's unrighteous. There's so many things, man, I could say about that. Okay? But that's a tethered mindset, man. We got to wake up, man, and try to, and figure out who's who or what's what. Otherwise, if we remain asleep, we gonna, it's like they say we have no culture. It's things like that to where things are set in stone, which is in the Bible, tells you what the inheritance is. But nobody wants to follow that if they left out, which is total foolishness, man. It's total foolishness. But, we're going to all find out when the perfect is coming. We stand before the perfect, what's what? Because he's already laid it out. You just don't. See, people feel like if they don't get nothing out of it, then they don't want nothing to do with it, whether the Most High said it or not. And that's the reality of it. That's the reality of it, man. So you got people here, saying that Foundation of Black Americans are being divisive, but if you go to Africa or study Africa, study the Fulani people and what's going on in Ghana right now with that, man, and they hate each other. You see? So, I just wanted to share that, man, with you. Watch out, man, for how people try to tether on. And see, let me just say this, one more thing. See, when immigrants come over here, they got this mindset of how they can, either marry you, for status. All right, that's their mindset. That, we as Black Americans, we want to marry for love or marry because we're feeling you. But nah, they don't do that. They come over here, man, to marry for status, to marry, so they can see where they can get in at over here, man. So, beware. I'm just trying to pull your coat to what I see the mindset of an immigrant is and how delusional they are, when it comes to what reality is. You understand what I'm saying? That's all I'm going to say, man. Doc Poppin', I'm out.